Hi, and welcome back to the Dial Podcast. I'm Jake Von Dringen. I'm here with Lance Epler.
Lance Romance, right here in studio, live.
Welcome, Lance.
Thank you very much. Happy to be here.
Awesome. We've got Matt LeGrand coming to us on Skype today. Matt, how are you?
What's up, ladies and gentlemen of the internet? You guys are looking Skype-tastic. You look good over Skype. That's what that means.
Gotcha. And we've got a special guest with us today. We've got Paige Edwards. Welcome to the show, Paige.
Hello.
Hi. For those of you who are watching on YouTube, it looks like there is someone out there that's watching right now. You can see Paige on there. We are going to be doing this whole live on YouTube thing every week. So if you ever want to just check it out, feel free to subscribe to the Dialed Cycling YouTube, and you can get a little notification as to when we go live, and you can watch along and play along with us as we do this.
Love it.
Cool. All right, let's jump into this show. Lance, why don't you backpedal for us?
Backpedal for me. I had a big week, actually. Big week. 18 hours, like 350 miles this last week. So I was out there quite a bit. Unfortunately, much of it was on Zwift. I did a lot of training inside this week. The weather really wasn't all that great this week, and so I ended up doing quite a bit inside. But not all of it. The team ride was great. We had quite a few people. There was like 40 people on the Zwift team ride.
It was large.
It was large.
Yeah.
I know I ended up in the front group. The group kind of split up a little bit. Paige, you were even there, weren't you?
I was.
Yeah.
Hanging in the back.
She was hanging pretty tough. But I did ride outside a couple of times, like 3 times this week. Once I went out almost in the middle of the night. I left at like 7 o'clock at night and rode for like 40 miles in the rain and
on
in
the
the
road
dark.
on your gravel bike.
On the road on my gravel bike. I did go down some gravel roads.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
This seems like a unintelligent choice.
I love Paige. She's already calling you out.
No, I was just
Look, Price who?
presenting an idea.
Did I just turn bright red? Look at my face. I'm bright red. Yes, Paige just completely called me out.
I was just saying,
it was
don't
not.
get run over.
It was not smart at all. It was like, okay, it's time for me to ride, and I'm just going to ride outside. I had just done all this. I just fixed a bunch of stuff on my gravel bike, and I'm like, I want to go ride it.
You have to prove that you fixed it.
Yeah, so anyway, okay.
Yeah.
Now I feel like an idiot.
My dad would just like hammer me for riding in the dark on the road. He'd be like, do you know how many cyclists per year get hit by cars?
There's a few.
Is that how Todd talks?
Well, I'm older than your dad and dumber, so
You're probably wiser.
I don't know about that.
Actually, I think you guys are the same age.
Are we? How old's your dad? Do you know?
51.
Oh, he's older than you. Big brother.
I'm 51.
Almost.
Well, I'm not quite
If he's
51.
50, I am so sorry, Dad.
You don't know if your dad's
No.
50.
He's 51.
I'm 50.
He's 51 because it's 2021, and he was born in 1970.
Well, I was born in 1970
When's
as well.
his birthday?
September.
Oh, so Lance is older.
I was born in April, so I am older. So I am smarter than
You're wiser.
Todd.
Yeah. Todd defeated.
Todd. I win, Todd. He'll never listen to this. Yeah, he will.
Yeah, he will,
He
'cause
will
I'm
listen
on
to
it.
this because you're on it. Dang. He's not somebody I really want on my bad side.
No, he's a nice
No,
guy.
I know he's a nice guy, but like he's freaking rips, man. He does, man. He's just anyway. Okay.
Todd can take you out.
I know, man. He's solid. Okay,
He's gonna love this so much.
No,
He's like, I'm old and fat. I don't ride my bike every day anymore. He's gonna be flattered.
Yeah, I like Todd. Mm-hmm. I did other rides. I didn't just ride outside. Saturday, we were supposed to do teammate Ian's birthday ride. He was supposed to do his 60th birthday ride, but
Okay,
weather.
we're going to talk about that right for a second, but he's not 60. He lied when he moved here from Britain and said he was 10 years older than he actually is, just so he could retire early. I told him that on Saturday, and he laughed at me. But
well, I will say he outsprinted me almost all day long. He
He's
outsprinted
60.
me, and he's 60.
looks
Who
like
is
he's
this person?
50 and rides like he's 30.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ian, he's one of our teammates.
Cool.
Yeah, he rips too.
Sir Ian Gibson.
Sir Ian Gibson. Yeah, so me and Jake and Ian went out for like 35 miles of just I don't know. I call it
40 something,
something like that.
42, yeah.
I want to call it sprint lead out practice because that's kind of what we were doing.
Kind of was, yeah.
Yeah, so
was the route though.
Yeah, we did do our dialed training route.
Yep.
But we did it backwards.
Stop ahead signs in full effect.
Yeah, every stop ahead sign we sprinted for, and it was more like Jake pull for 3 minutes, me empty the tank in like 60 seconds, and then Ian sprint around me at the end.
Happy birthday, Ian.
Yes.
Sounds fun though.
But it was good. You know, the great thing about it is we haven't been able to do practice like that or lead out practice or like sprint train practice like that because of the pandemic.
Yeah.
And even though it was just the three of us, it was really good to get those feelings of, okay, go empty, go hard as I can, knowing that he's on my wheel and he's going to come around, and I wanted him to come around.
Yeah.
So
that's exactly what was in my head when we were coming up the ditch, and I basically sat at about between 400 and 450 watts for about 2.5, 3 miles.
Yep.
And then I was perfectly set up because we know exactly where we're sprinting to. Lance comes around and he pulls Ian up probably about 500 watts plus, and then Ian just exploded like a...
It was awesome.
Yeah, a missile. Yeah, it was good. Good stuff.
It was awesome. So we had a good time, the three of us. We flogged each other, and that's what we like to do. So... Then yesterday I ended up going out with Surratt, our other teammate Chris Surratt, and we did the Hell of the North Plains gravel route.
I wanted to go on that so bad. I had way too much going on, and did you see my ride title yesterday?
Yes.
That was me. That wasn't describing the ride. That was just me. I was a pile of hot garbage.
Hot garbage.
I felt
too much.
Zero. Like, I had zero energy. It was terrible.
That was me on the team ride on Tuesday.
Was it?
Yeah, I was like, I'm going to hang for this. And
well,
then
you
I was like, no.
Kicked your training up to, what, like 15 or 16 hours, like 2 weeks prior to that? That's just catching up with you.
And I had been at like 0 before that.
But I had a great ride with Surratt yesterday. We put in 55 miles, the Hell of the North Plains route. It's 70% gravel or something like that. Some of it was single track, like hop over the Forest Service gate, and it was awesome though. We had a great time.
Cool.
Surratt did flat 11 miles into it, and we couldn't get the tubeless tire to seal, so we ended up having to put a tube in it, and the tube held for the rest of the ride. We were quite nervous about it.
Did you have to boot it?
We'd have to boot it. No, it just, what happened when it went flat, it wouldn't, the bead broke.
Oh.
And so it wouldn't like reinflate.
What tires was he running?
Schwalbe's something.
Those are light and fast.
Yeah.
But they're a little susceptible to that kind of stuff though, aren't they?
I think so. So anyway, that was phenomenal. I had a great time.
Cool.
Thanks for that. That's my week.
Awesome. Matt, you want to backpedal for us?
Sure. I don't think the week was that crazy for me. Team group ride, which was super fun. I don't remember. I got dropped midway through and then ended up riding with another smaller group for the rest of it, which was super nice. And then a lot of swimming, a couple of runs. I actually did something crazy yesterday. I did a track workout, which is something a guy with a busted Achilles should really never do. But some guys on YouTube had like challenged me to do this kind of like workout where you do 1,000 meters and then you kind of like hide your watch and you keep doing a couple more thousands and you try and hit your time from the previous time. I'm going to make a video about it on my YouTube channel, and then there's another couple people that are also doing the same kind of challenge, and so it's kind of a thing, but I paid the price for it because now I'm like limping around. Oh. And I did my swim just right before this podcast, and I even like going around to the pool, I'm like limping around.
Is that a bad limp or are you just sore limp?
It's a sore limp. I think I'm okay. I don't think I did any more damage to. Okay. I mean, my Achilles is damaged, right? But like, I don't think I did more damage. And I made it through the workout, which maybe that's important, maybe it's not. I don't know. But it was actually fun to get on the track and go hard. Or semi-hard. I was going like 6-minute miles or 6:15 or something like that. So,
do you have any updates on your Achilles? Have you had any more medical appointments that you would want to share with us? Or
just the like dozens of doctors that I've seen, and the conclusion is peg leg, carbon fiber peg leg.
Blade Runner, baby.
Blade Runner. Yeah.
Awesome.
So that's my week. Pretty quick.
Cool.
Yep.
Paige,
Yes.
what you up to? What'd you do this week? She's the only one sitting here at the table that actually went out and did something this past week that was of note. You want to give us a little backpedal?
Well, I did way less hours and miles than you guys. Probably.
That's because we're idiots.
No, it was because I've been kind of fried from training more than normal, and I was preparing for a race, and it's been the first race I've done in forever. It was in Gig Harbor, Washington. I did Cat 1 women, and I got second, which was cool.
This is a mountain bike race.
Yes.
About how long was it?
More than 20 miles, I'm pretty sure.
Like, it was a lap course. You had to do multiple laps.
Yeah, it was 3 laps,
Okay.
and the laps took like 40 to 45 minutes.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure.
So yeah, significant.
Mhm.
Hard. That sounds.
It was hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was hard. When I first start, my back always hurts like crazy. But this year it was a lot better than last year because I've been working on my core a lot. So,
That a girl.
Yeah, balances it out. That's
Nice.
what my chiropractor told me to do. So
Your dad sent me a text saying that you had like this grin from ear to ear because it was raining and sloppy and messy, and everybody was kind of griping about it being cold and wet. And Paige is over here; she just got this like little Chester cat smile on her face, like, "Yeah, get some."
a little bit of an advantage for me if you're used to it, or
Yeah.
anybody that's used to it. So
Cool.
it's cool.
Awesome. We'll get into some more stuff about Paige when we get into the topic of the day, and we'll learn about Paige and what she's doing with Dialed now. So we'll do that. As for my back pedal, there's nothing much to report other than yes, Zwift happened a lot, and I did do that team ride with mini team me, Lance, and Ian. We did that little ride. That was a blast. I might have actually been pretty tired the following day from that. And then the other thing is I woke up on Sunday morning with a headache. And it's like a headache like you had maybe like 1 or 3 too many beers. I haven't had a drop of alcohol in like over a month. So I'm thinking about this and I'm like, that's right. I got home from that ride and my water bottle was still full. I had my water when I first get up in the morning, and I had another cup of water with dinner, and that's all the water that I drank that day.
It all.
And it
Yeah.
was cold, but I was sweating. And as a matter of fact, I remember riding home into that damn east wind and looking down, putting way too many watts to go way too slow. And I'm kind of like hunkered down trying to, kind of dodge the wind a little bit. And I had drip coming off me because I could see it landing on my garment. I'm like, that's not just water. That's like sweat. You can tell it's kind of like milky looking. I'm like, I need to drink some more fluids. And I got home and didn't do it. So that's probably why I was wrecked yesterday. I was just dehydrated.
We were out there 2 hours.
Yeah.
And didn't drink a whole lot.
No.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. So
You think it would be smarter than that? See, Paige? Not that smart.
I think you guys are smart.
yeah.
I drink
Sometimes.
like way too much water.
Yeah.
I like bring 2 bottles like everywhere.
Well, the problem is when we go on team rides, I try not to like go crazy on the water ahead of time because I have to stop and go to the bathroom every
Yeah.
way too often.
Baby bladder.
Oh, that's so sad.
Anyhow.
It's cute.
It's cute. You think it's cute? Guys, he thinks it's cute.
That's funny. But it was just another week. I'm looking forward to getting back into the swing of the things this week. And hopefully, I actually got up and rode early this morning just to get it out of the way because I had way too much stuff going on this week and I didn't get to go to Costco yet. So I got to go to Costco when I get up from work tonight. So I'm like, I got to ride first to get it over with. But, long story short, I'm hoping this is going to be a good week because I did feel good on the trainer this morning. Even though I was multitasking, I was supposed to be on an active recovery day. I was putting down a little bit higher wattage than I would have normally. And it wasn't because of anything other than I felt good. I was doing what my RPE was. And then I looked over my watts. I'm like, it's a little bit higher.
Jake, you're coming around. Your watts are coming around, so.
Yeah, it'll come around in time. Where I want it to be at least, so. Cool.
Champ Bailey, top 5.
Hey, Champ.
Top 5 discussion. I mean, I'm not just going to go out crazy
Hall
and
of
say top
Famer?
3.
Are you in the Hall of Fame?
Famer.
Seriously?
Bailey. Yes.
I think it's time for an edit.
Champ Bailey here. It's time for an intro edit. Champ Bailey is my fake sportscaster identity.
Oh.
You want to tell her the story behind that? Some people who maybe are new to this whole podcast thing, they're like,
Champ
why
Bailey.
in the hell did he choose Champ Bailey, the cornerback from the Denver Broncos? That's not who we thought it was.
So I was trying to make fun of the movie Ron Burgundy.
Anchorman.
Anchorman. Ron Burgundy is the character in Anchorman, the movie. Do you know who that is? Have you seen Anchorman?
Oh, please. You haven't seen Anchorman?
It's a Will Ferrell movie. So,
I could have said yes.
Just wait.
You got to watch that.
you-
It's a classic.
You're like 19, right? Or 18?
I'm 18.
You're 18. Okay.
That's about when it came out.
It's about that old.
Gosh, I feel old right now.
This won't make sense at all.
I could have probably said yes, and then nothing would have happened.
that's right.
That was-
Anchorman is a comedy, and there is a fake sportscaster in there who goes by the name of Champ Kind. And I was trying to make fun of Champ Kind, but I called myself Champ Bailey as the sportscaster for
none
the
of us,
show.
none of us picked up on it for like the first month.
Yeah,
For a long time.
Yeah.
I was so convinced that was really his name, Champ Bailey. Like I was positive that was correct. But the guy's hilarious as a sportscaster for this comedy movie. It's worth watching.
I like to go to Disneyland, take my pants off. Okay, so in
watch
this, you'll have to watch it.
Yeah.
It's funny if your dad will let you. Anyway, we did have the Cyclocross World Championships this last year in
weekend.
Belgium. Last weekend. And it was super exciting. A lot of big, long, ugly sand sections. Did you watch any of it, Paige?
I watched like the Instagram clips that they
That's
post.
perfect, yeah.
So basically, yeah.
So, Jake, big surprise about who won the men's elite. Who do you think?
Most valuable player.
Yes, Matthew Vanderpool, MVDP.
Yep.
Not just MVP, MVDP.
Okay.
Okay.
Is it Matthew or Matthew?
It's Matthew.
Matthew?
Yeah.
Like almost like Atchu, but Matthew.
Yeah, correct. So, third year in the row, Matthew is one. I'm just going to say Matthew because
That was his fourth?
Third.
No, fourth.
Third?
He's won 4.
Third.
Are you sure?
No.
I'm positive I heard 4th yesterday.
Anyway.
Because I remember, didn't Wout, hasn't he won
Oh,
3?
it is fourth. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
right
okay.
here. It's his fourth.
Okay, thank you.
You're correct. So it was kind of exciting. Wout Van Aert, who we were kind of pulling for, he had like a 30-second lead, and Vanderpool went over his handlebars in one bad rut.
Yep.
And Vanderpool ended up pulling him back, and right as he was about to catch Wout Van Aert, Wout flatted. And so he had to...
Oh, he flatted. Okay, I didn't catch that
flatted.
part.
That sucks.
He front flatted.
Okay.
And so he was able to ride to the pit. He didn't have to run to the pit, but he was able to ride to the pit, but he lost 30 seconds or so.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
I didn't catch that part. I just watched the replays, and it was all in like Dutch or something like that, so I had no idea what they were saying. And I just saw him like, oh, that's... Wow, MVP just caught him and passed him like piece of cake.
So he lost like 30 seconds. Then Wout almost pulled him back, but then, you crushed that hard, Wout Vanderpool ended up winning by 40 seconds or 50 seconds or something like that.
And it was so for third place though, that was kind of a fun little it was Pinnock and Toot, right?
Yeah. Toon Ertz and Tom Pidcock were both battling for third place, and Toon ended up taking it.
I love his name.
Yeah. Toon Ertz. Love that.
Cartoon.
American Curtis White, I believe, took 20th, so good on him for him. That was fantastic. He was the only American in the race.
Clara Hansinger got 4th.
That's correct. In the women's race, that was quite exciting. Clara doesn't usually start all that well, even though she was on the front row.
Yeah.
Didn't start all that hot, but she, after the first couple of turns, she was in like 13th, and she battled her way back to 4th, which was
had a girl.
Fantastic. So,
you guys know she's from Portland?
Yes.
We're big.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. She's actually from Ashland, Oregon.
Cool.
She grew up in Ashland. Started to go to school at in Corvallis, but then joined the Selwood S&M team that's in Portland, and so then she lived here and raced here in Portland for a couple years before. She's gone big time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I met her one time.
Oh,
she's
did you?
really nice. Yeah.
She's a sweetheart. I raced her once.
That is correct. She came out and she did one of the men's races, and it was because a lot of the men that race cyclocross here locally don't get UCI points, right?
Yeah.
So you need a certain amount of UCI points. Well, not a certain amount, but just more UCI points you can get, the better for your start position is. And when we had the cross national championships up in Tacoma, we had a bunch of people going up there, and they wanted to have a better start position. She jumped in, and because she's got a ton of UCI points, that up to the
everybody got better points
points.
because she
cool.
was in the race,
Yeah.
and she didn't try to win it. She just like got a good workout in. So that was kind of cool.
That is
So.
cool.
But if she wanted to, she could just hand everybody their lunch.
She would have placed in the top 5.
That's great.
Yeah, for the men's leader top 10 or something like that.
Wow.
So pretty impressive. So pretty awesome.
Cool.
So yeah, the women's race was won by Lucinda Brand, Belgian. Actually, defending champion Alvarado got the whole shot and had a great start, but then she crashed on the first corner and never quite recovered.
That's tough.
Yeah, so she was like in it, and then there was some controversy because Lucinda Brand and Anna Marie Worst were battling for the win with like 2 minutes to go in the race, like right at the very end, and Lucinda Brand kind of took a tighter corner and bumped shoulders with Anna Marie Worst, and she went down. Anna Marie Worst fell.
Oh.
So she lost like 4 seconds, and that was the race right there. So Lucinda Brand ended up.
Cross is hectic.
Yeah, cross is crazy.
I don't know how people maintain consistency racing cross. It's
There
just
are a
like-
lot of variables there.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's just so much stuff.
It's bike handling and line choice and equipment choice
Yeah.
and tire choice and
That just goes
And
to show you,
watts.
though, how special MVP and Woot are.
Yeah.
They're consistently right there, 1, 2.
Yeah, it's crazy.
it's pretty amazing.
Those are some special dudes right there.
Yeah.
So
So that's it for the World Championships. That was fun and exciting to watch. Not a whole lot of other news in cycling. Belgium Waffle Ride announced another gravel race in Kansas. So they're having 4 now this year.
really?
Yep.
Kansas, huh?
Yeah.
Are they using anything from the what used to be known as the Dirty Kansas?
No, they're doing it in
Challenge?
Lawrence, Kansas, and
Okay.
and Unbound Gravel
Uh-huh.
is in Emporia, Kansas.
Okay.
So I don't know how close.
How do you know
those
so much
towns are.
about Kansas, Lance?
I
mean, champ.
I'm champ, and I just follow gravel racing.
Yes. Yes, you do. Cool.
Champ Bailey out.
Thanks, champ. All right, real quick, Patreon. We have a drawing this week, and if you're watching the YouTube, you'll see me pulling up this little cask neck buff, a little neck gaiter, if you will, and that's going to be our drawing this week. If you are in the pool of Patreons, to all of you who are, we thank you. I'm going to shake it up a little bit, and Paige, I'm going to have you pull one person's name out of there. And if his name is Rob Buck, we're going to put it back in. He
came-
wins like every week.
He came by the lab this week.
Yeah. Who do you got? Can you read my chicken scratch?
I think so. Scott Troutman.
Oh, Scott Troutman.
Troutman.
I was just making sure I was going to say that right first.
Lance kind of got into it, Scott Troutman, a little bit this weekend on social media.
Okay. He posted that Clara got 4th at like 7 in the morning. And then like I didn't have a chance to wake up and like watch anything. He just like already posted it, so I called him out. I'm like, spoiler alert, dude.
Spoiler
Come
alert,
on.
dude. Yeah.
What are you doing?
That's funny. So, Scott Troutman, come by the lab and pick yourself up a lovely little cask neck gator buff thingy. It's awesome. It'll keep your head warm, your neck warm, and it'll keep the COVID to yourself.
That color. I
Yep.
like that color.
It's pretty sharp. If you or yourself are interested in becoming a Patreon, you can go to dialpodcast.com, and right there on the homepage, you will see a link to Patreon. Click on through, check out the different Patreon options, jump in there, and your support would be greatly appreciated. It helps us do little things like we're doing right now with this whole live broadcast thing. So, kind of cool. That's it for Patreon news. Anything else before we jump into our topic of the day?
Does Matt have any triathlon news we want to ignore?
Matt, any triathlon running stuff you want to talk about?
There's no triathlon news to ignore, guys.
Excellent.
There's been some like people getting new bikes. Paula Finlay's now riding Specialized. I don't,
wow.
That's not news.
That came up on my YouTube feed.
There you go.
It did. And what's her husband's name again?
Pat Lemieux.
Well, they're not married.
That's the other
Eric
one.
Lagerstrom.
Oh,
It's
their
Eric
partner,
Lagerstrom.
whatever. So Eric Lagerstrom does he do all of like the video and the shooting and production of that?
Typically, yes. For that particular video that you're referring to, they have like what they call the Slow Twitch Media Team, which is really just like another guy that was doing some filming for them as well. So
is that group that you went up and helped out not too long ago? Like, well,
Eric is, yeah.
Okay. Anyway, I was watching that, I'm like, good Lord, that's some like sharp looking stuff right there. They did a really nice job. So
yeah, they did. Yeah, that's really the Slow Twitch Media Team on that particular edit. But yeah, they did a really nice announcement of her, picking up that Specialized brand. She was with Trek, so I think she didn't trust the handlebars or something like that, and then she's moved on to Specialized. So see how that goes.
Cool. All right, our topic for the day is going to be Paige Edwards. You are a topic. Have you ever been a topic before, Paige?
I don't think so.
Well, more than anything, we want to talk to you about your past and what kind of got you into racing. I'm curious because we want more women doing exactly what you're doing. It doesn't have to necessarily be mountain biking, but just could be bike racing in general or just riding bikes in general. And we've just got some questions for you. But before that, I'd like to get a little bit more of a background on you so that we can know a little bit more about who you are. How did you get into riding bikes and racing mountain bikes?
My dad has always been the start for everything with biking. He's a great rider, great mountain biker, and he took me out, when my family was on vacation in Sun River, and there was a bunch of boys riding up a hill, and they couldn't make it, and they started walking, and I was 11, and I just started, pedaling past them, and he was like, yo, I'm going to get Paige a bike, and then he started taking me into races, and that was it. Since I was 11, I've just loved racing.
That's awesome. Mm-hmm. Hey, your dad's a pretty cool dude.
Yeah.
I didn't even know his name. Mm-hmm. I knew Camus Phantom.
So I don't know Camus Phantom. That's his Strava profile.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm outing him right now if he wants to, but I guess it's over now. But
I mean, he was really hyped about it a couple years ago, so maybe everyone knows now.
Yeah. So he and I traded a couple segments, and if it was anything uber technical, he just would blow my doors off. I'd go out and I'd take a KOM from him, and a day or two later, it's gone, and it's not just gone. It's dude, I can't. You just put 15 to 20 seconds into me. I'm like, okay, that's yours. And then I would try and go get stuff from him that was maybe I got to put down big watts and go climb and that kind of stuff. So we traded stuff, went back and forth, and there was some fun little banter. And then all of a sudden I kind of disappeared and wasn't on the old Strava for a little while there. And he learned or found out that I'd gotten hit by the car. Yeah. And he went out of his way to track down my phone number, and he sent me a text wishing me well and kind of making the connection as to who Camus Phantom was. And I just thought that was the coolest thing. Your dad he's a rock star. He's a super, super cool guy. And once you get to know him, he's just salt of the earth kind of guy, just super cool. So it doesn't surprise me for 1 second that he's the one that got you into riding and racing bikes. So
yeah, he's always riding is therapy for my soul.
Oh, yeah.
Me too. So
the other question I was going to have is just tell us a little bit about where you're at right now. What's your current station in the whole bike racing game?
So this would be my first year of U23, which for those who don't know is 19 to 23 in the pro circuit. So I am focusing on the Pro XCTs in the USA, and I have no idea how I'm going to do, honestly, but I'm really excited to do it because it's a whole lot different than the junior stuff.
So the last few years you've been racing junior elites.
Yeah, so it goes 15, 16, 17, 18.
Okay.
I'm 18, but since my birthday, I turned 19.
You turned 19 this year, so you race as a 19-year-old.
Yeah, but I'm a senior in high school, so.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's pretty exciting. Cool.
So going back, tell us a little bit about some of the big races that you've been in and some of the races that you've done pretty well in.
Well, I did not well, but it was one of my favorite races was Missoula, Montana in 2019. And what happened was I flew off that wood bridge that everyone crashes on. And it was a 12-foot thing.
This is a mountain bike cross-country race.
Yeah, one of the
right?
Pro XCTs.
Pro XCTs,
a
okay.
UCI race.
Okay. And
I was with the 17-18 group, and I was really new at racing at that level. I still technically am. But so anyway, I flew off the bridge and I crashed and I bent my handlebars and concussed myself. But I got back up and I finished the race and I got that one UCI point, and that gave me a good starting position at nationals in 2019, which ended up getting me 20th at nationals out of like 65 people.
Holy cow.
So like if you get those UCI points, you can have a chance.
It
So-
helps a little bit.
Yeah, so like one UCI point like destroys all USAC points. So
Yeah.
after getting that, I was able to like do well. So that was cool. So that was
I
my
love it.
favorite because I like got back up after I was hurt. So yeah, that's my favorite race.
Cool. Are you still the reigning Obra cross country champion because there was no racing last year?
I don't know, but probably.
I think you are.
I think so. I couldn't say because I didn't go to a lot of them, but
But you went to the state championship mountain bike race and you won.
yes.
Correct.
Yes, I
So
did.
you get yourself a little state championship jersey. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Was that the one that was at was it the vineyard in
Yes.
the valley?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
Yes.
I think I was there. I paced Surratt for like 3 laps so that he could smoke me on the last 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. So going forward, you're going to be heading off to college in the fall. Mm-hmm. Where are you off to and what's going on there?
So I'm deciding between Brevard College in North Carolina and Fort Lewis in Durango, Colorado.
Ooh.
And they're both really great programs. And I'm visiting Brevard over President's Day weekend, so that'll help me make up my mind because I'm pretty between the two at the moment. And I can't decide to move to North Carolina if I haven't been there.
Sure.
So that's what I got to do first.
I think you've got some good connections there and you've got some good opportunities and some stuff that you could definitely pursue. But, oh, my gosh, passing on Colorado for a mountain biker is tough.
I know. I did a training camp there
Yeah.
before Nationals in 2019, and it was amazing.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is where I want to go. But
the
there's other options that are really good.
Was the training camp in Durango or was it over in
It was in Durango,
It was in
at
Durango,
Fort Lewis College.
At Fort Lewis.
So it's kind of like, they're looking for kids.
That school has some history and has produced some hitters.
Yes.
So
and Durango itself.
And Durango, you know the kind of people that live in Durango?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The cyclists that live in Durango,
Yeah.
especially the mountain bikers, they have a Tuesday Night Worlds ride that is you can't. I mean Tinker Juarez shows up and
I raced against Tinker once.
yeah. So I mean it's just it's nuts. Plus I think Payson McKelvin lives there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He lives and trains there, and he's a hitter. Anyway,
Going back to that, though, it was a 24... No, it was not a 24-hour race. It was a 12-hour race. I was on a team, and Tinker was racing solo. Tinker beat us.
he beat you racing solo.
Yes. So, yeah. Anyhow, cool. So for this year, it's kind of a funky year for bike racing for obvious reasons. What are some of the races, though, that you have on your calendar that you're looking forward to, potentially?
Potentially Puerto Rico, but it's like literally like tentative to happen. It's a UCI race in Puerto Rico.
So there'll be a UCI race. There'll be elite women and U23 women. You're hoping to do the U23 race in Puerto Rico. When's that supposed to be?
At the end of March.
Okay.
There was supposed to be one in February, I'm fairly certain, but it didn't happen. And then there's the Cactus Cup in Arizona, which isn't a Pro XCT, but it's a pretty big event. And that's like guaranteed to happen. So if Puerto Rico doesn't, then it'd be great to go down there.
I think they still pulled that race off last year when
Yeah.
the pandemic was just starting. I think the Cactus Cup is right around Scottsdale, Tempe.
It's
right in the
in
Phoenix area.
Scottsdale.
It's in Scottsdale.
Yeah.
Okay. McDowell Ranch, if I recall.
I'd love to go get some sun.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. I've asked you a bunch of questions. Matt and Lance, do you guys have some questions for Paige?
Matt?
Sure. Yeah. I haven't heard what bike you ride. Like, what do you like to? What's on your bike?
It's a
What
S-Works.
brand? What? Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. I'm an ambassador
Strike me
for
in, sorry.
Specialized right now.
Okay.
It's an S-Works Epic 2020. And I'm also an ambassador for SRAM, so, Axis, all that stuff's on there. It's really pretty.
Yeah.
I
That
love
is a
that
sweet
bike.
bike, yep.
I love that bike
Is it
so
a
much.
baby blue kind of color, or?
No,
can't remember.
it's like this purple, but it's got like reflective material on it, so it looks
Nice.
different colors in different light.
So the Epic is like, it's a cross-country mountain bike.
Yes.
Full suspension.
Yes.
Is it one that has a brain in it?
Yes.
It does.
Yes.
That it kind of changes suspension during the ride for the needs. Isn't that correct? Something like that?
Mm-hmm. But you can change it with a dial on the top. But
you can manually change it, or you can turn like the sensitivity of the brain up.
That's what it is.
Okay.
Yeah. So you can turn the sensitivity up and down, and it reacts to the things your bike hits.
Okay.
So it causes things to release, which allow the suspension to work more or less.
Gotcha.
Based on what you're doing. So
I know that bike looks kind of amazing.
it is amazing. I love it.
Lance, you got any questions for her?
Tell me about one of your other favorite races other than Missoula, Montana.
Well, I went to Temecula last March.
That's why I raced against Tinker, by the way.
And we didn't get to have our cross country race because it was canceled. But the day before that, we had short track, and I was really happy with how I did because I had no idea how I was going to do, and I got 12th, which was, it was pretty cool because everyone was so close together, and I was able to hang with the top people who race in Europe and things for most of it, and then I fell back a little and felt really good about that.
Does it work kind of the same way? They do the short track race the day before, and kind of your finish position in the short track race determines where you are in the start grid for the UCI race? Is that how it works?
It's different sometimes. It depends on the category of the UCI race. There's 3 categories, like category 1 UCI race, like everyone gets points. 2, it goes like a certain number deep, and then category 3 is 5 deep. So I'm assuming it would have affected where I started the next day, but we'll never know.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Cool. What was like your coming out race? Like, I don't know, like how old were you when you actually did a race where you thought, oh my gosh, I'm actually good at this, and as much as that hurt, I want to do this again?
I think being like 12 and 13, and there's not a lot of competition around here, and 14 too, like in middle school.
Yeah.
I did Washington Student Cycling League, which is a great program. It's in like northern Washington, and they have like tons of kids that do it. And for me, like being there and feeling like untouchable, like they put me, like I started in the middle school group and like nobody could touch me, and then they moved me up to JV, and then nobody could touch me, and they put me in varsity, and then I would win that. And it was just like, like when you get a real taste for like winning is like an amazing feeling for me, because I love competing. It's like the reason why I train is to race.
Yeah.
So like I love riding my bike, but racing for me is like all I want to do. It's crazy.
It's a pretty unique skill to hurt as much as it takes on the bike, and then still be happy with that.
Honestly.
To like be, okay, I know this is going to hurt. I know I'm going to have to go deep, but this is what I'm going to have to do if I'm going to place well, if I'm going to win this race. That's not something you can really teach.
Yeah.
It's kind of innate, inborn in kids. And
yeah, you have to love pain to do cross country.
Yeah.
I've never really done a lot of other disciplines, but I'm assuming it's the same way. But like yesterday, like I mentioned earlier to you guys, like my back was just killing me, and when I was racing, and this is a really funny thought, but when I was racing, I was thinking about how like pain is completely temporary, which is really cool. And I was thinking about the fact that there's probably literally billions of other people that are in physical pain at the same moment as me.
yeah.
And I was like, for some reason that was comforting, and I just seemed to like not think about it anymore. And it's something you can kind of just like let go of. You can like train yourself to like let go of things when you're like sustaining it, I feel like. So I just found that to be something I was thinking about like during the whole race.
It's a weird paradox to think about, like how much pain you're actually in, and then how you're able to suppress that, and then how you're able to do that for such a long period of time. So you raced for what, 2 hours yesterday?
Yeah.
And you were probably in pain for most of that, but your body just almost like disconnects from your brain because you're just in that race mode. And it's crazy how 2 hours does not feel like 2 hours. Like if I were to sit you down on the couch and like, I don't know, inflict pain on you somehow, some way, you're going to be like, I'm going to like shoot you in the head after like 5 minutes, but you're on your mountain bike doing this for 2 hours.
Yeah.
It's just, it's a crazy, crazy thing.
Yeah. I think it's pretty special to like when you figure out how to like let go of something like
Yeah.
that, and then just actually not even like let go of it, just fully enjoy what you're doing.
Sure.
So I don't know. I was having so much fun because I'm so thankful to be racing right now, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that you haven't done many other disciplines. Have you ever done any other kinds of bike racing? Have you touched cyclocross or gravel or a road race or a time trial?
I've done, well, I guess it's not different, but I've done short track at PIR since I was like 10 or whatever.
The Portland International Raceway short track is a lot of fun.
Yeah, I
so,
love doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And
if we have it again this year, you'll be out there, correct?
oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I guess it was 2 years ago now, which is crazy because last summer didn't happen.
Didn't happen.
But I was doing Cat 1 women, and there was just this amazing woman named Laura who's, like way more than twice my age and just killing me.
Yeah.
And she had like a son who's my age, and she was just crazy fast. So I was doing Cat 1 Open, and I was just always chasing her, and it was like great.
How much of a smile does it put on your face to think that you can be that competitive?
Yeah.
For a whole nother lifetime.
Right?
It's crazy. I think that's one of the best things about cycling is that it's an ageless sport.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even when you start to get up there in age a little bit, it's not like it's over. There's just more people that are racing that are at your ability level. And, maybe you're not going to be mixing it up with the 20-year-olds anymore, but my God, there are some fast 40 and 50-year-olds out there, and you're still going to go out there and have that edge, and you're still going to go out there and have a blast doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to be fast. Not having to necessarily keep up with those young bucks just as much, but there are still people that are in their 50s that are racing in the elites. I mean, Lance, I'm sure, can list off a good half dozen people here that he races against that are, racing against him in the Masters that'll jump over into the elite class and, do really well.
Jonathan Myers from Team S&M.
Yep.
He's 54, I think he's 54.
50-something.
He still races elites, and I
That's
cannot
Yeah.
hang with him.
There's a Paul Boursier.
Paul Boursier, yep.
Yep, and then there's probably who's the
Bart Bowen.
Mark Bowen, okay.
Bart Bowen.
Oh, Bart Bowen, okay.
He's from Bend area. Yep.
Who's the other Big Bend guy that does all the cyclocross? They had the GP series named after him not too long ago.
Carl Decker?
Yes, I don't know why that was drawing a blank on that. He's up there in his 50s, isn't he?
No, he's 45.
Oh, so he's my age.
He's 45.
But still,
He's still a professional. He still has a pro
Yes.
contract. He still races for a giant off-road team.
That's
moral of the
cool.
story is you've got a lot of years ahead of you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing is like Annika Longvad or whatever. She didn't even start until she was like out of college in her 20s.
Wow.
And she's like multiple time world champion.
Yeah.
So it's really cool that way.
So what other disciplines do you want to try out?
I want to try road. I could do more enduro. I could do more cyclocross. I just feel like I could do any of them, but
I think you would do really well at cyclocross. You've got those bike handling skills and you've got the motor to boot. I think that you would do really well.
I think so. I just I've done it here and there, like locally.
Yeah.
But if I trained for it, then I think I could do well.
And
but
I'm curious to see how you do on the road.
I think I would do all right after I trained for it again.
Yeah. It's a different motor. It's a different beast than training for mountain bike, but for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Cool.
So.
Matt, do you have any other questions for Paige?
I don't know if you want to talk about like tire choices or,
Ooh, that's yeah.
We talk about on this podcast a fair amount about cush cores and things like that. I don't know if there's any, gear or anything else that you want to talk about or mention.
So let's talk about your setup. We talked about your bike already.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So what kind of wheels are you running? What kind of tires are you running? What are some of the other little nuances that people might be going, wow, she's doing this whole elite pro thing. She's riding a super nice mountain bike. Tell us about some of the choices that you make in terms of like your drivetrain and the wheels and tire selections, and are you running tire inserts, that kind of stuff. What do you got going on?
So I'm a small frame and I've got the brain and the axis stuff, and I love specialized ground control tires for where I live, and then like when I'm down in Southmore and like drier areas, the fast tracks are great, like really lightweight racing tires, and like Utah and that area is good for those. I usually run like pretty high tire pressure for mountain biking, probably like 28 in the back and 26 in the front.
Why is that?
I really like a firmer feel. I grew up riding a hardtail.
Uh-huh.
So it was actually pretty weird for me, like mountain biking on a full suspension at first.
Interesting.
When I first started, because my dad, he's like, if you can ride this, then you can ride
anything,
like a Huffy. So
true.
like,
well, it's true. It's very true. But
Yeah.
in the same breath, I'm curious if you were to play with the tire pressures, if you could find yourself finding a little bit more confidence in the corners with a little bit more traction control. Do you think that there's something to that, or do you think you're just like for life, that's where you're going to be at?
Well, I just love to sprint when mountain biking too. And
Yeah.
if I feel like there's something that's like pulling me down, like a bike that's too heavy or you got too much stuff on it, then I just
I can see where you're coming at from there for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
like
does make you feel a little bit sluggish in some of those situations because there's energy transfer that's you're losing in the tires.
yeah, like once you're used to a rigid bike and you get on something squishy,
Yeah.
it's like I am losing like half of my effort when
Yeah.
I'm. Yeah.
How does that rear suspension on that bike lock out? Is it pretty good to give you that nice firm feel?
Yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah, I think it does the job.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So last year, maybe the year before, you want to tell us about the team that you're riding for?
Relaire?
Yeah.
Yeah. Relaire is a great program.
Yeah. So tell us about that experience. I mean, that must have been pretty cool for you to go like rub elbows with some pretty high level racers.
Yeah, it was a great experience. I only wish I had the 2020 season so that I could have got to know them all better. But yeah, I got on that team through Kelsey Urban, who's a pro racer. She is really cool. It's basically like I give her all the credit for like introducing me to those people. And then Bryson Perry runs that team. He's a super great guy.
Awesome.
Yeah. It was really cool getting to be with kids my age who are doing what I do because I had truly never experienced that before.
Yeah.
At all.
Gotcha.
So,
Okay. So moving forward, you're going to do some racing with what team? Dialed.
Yeah.
What is it about the Dialed team that you are attracted to?
Probably the friendly aspect of everything and how everyone is just so open and chill and like the community type aspect, I think. Like,
We are super stoked to have you. And I
Thank
think
you.
it's going to be a lot of fun for you to come race with us because there's just fantastic people. But there are some younger kids, some girls especially on the team who I think you're going to have a big impression on.
Yes.
So that's leading into my next question. What is your thought process about like mentoring like future kids, like the youth that are out there that are maybe thinking about, hey, I want to get into this bike racing stuff, or maybe they're already a part of the bike racing stuff. How can you help those kids, especially girls, really fall in love with the sport? And what is it that you think you can impart on them to make it a lifelong decision?
I think that like creating a place for young kids to go that makes them like not have to do it all by themselves is key, because you have to have like a real drive to do everything alone. I've done that, and if I could have changed that, I would. But I think it'd be really amazing to change that for people in the future. Like,
Sure.
That little girl that I met on the group ride.
Whitney Hayden.
Yes. She like inspires. It's just like inspiring to me to see a young girl like that. And yeah.
I can't wait for you to see her for the first time.
I saw her on the women's ride, and me and Maddie, we asked to like ride with her. Yeah.
But I want you to see her skills when she's riding off-road and the stuff that she's already doing. She's only 9 years old.
That is so great. Like I learned to ride a bike when I was like 11 or whatever.
I mean, she's out hitting jumps and she's doing big drops, and her dad's like, she keeps up with me on the climbs, and then
Wow.
the descents, she's right there. She's like, she can hang with all of the adults. They'll go out to Sandy Ridge, and she's hanging with all the adults on the expert courses.
Watch her like destroy me.
At 9. I think it would be fantastic. So
I'd love to ride with her and
Yeah.
Maddie, because she heard about Maddie and she was like,
Oh, yeah.
you're such a big inspiration to me, and it was like the cutest thing ever.
Yeah, and it's honest and sincere with her. She she looks up to you guys like it's nobody's business, and it's going to be awesome to watch you guys all kind of click.
Yes.
It'll be fun to see you all out there at Short Track for sure, because that was the first
Yes.
place that I'd ever seen Whitney, and I was just telling this story this past weekend. As a matter of fact, Lance, I think, was a party to this conversation.
Yep.
She was out there. She was doing the kids Cat 1 race. It was just a 1 lap race, I think, for the kids, because she was at the time, this was 2 years ago, so she was 7, and she's out there and she's with everybody, all the boys, all the girls. They blew the whistle and off they went, and she's sprinting up there with the boys and dropped all of the girls. I'm like, oh, look at that little girl going, and then I'm watching them come around off the back end. I'm like, oh, wait a second, she's still up there with them. And then like on the track, she's right there, and they're dropping people, and then they came around to the finish line. She outsprinted the boys and won.
Wow.
At 7 years old, and turned herself inside out, so much so that she like her parents were staged up right there by the finish line, and they had like a nice little picnic blanket. She went over there and she just basically like yard sailed right on that blanket, and like was on her back like wheezing and just like sucking wind. She turned herself inside out. That's how competitive she was at 7, and she's only gotten faster, and she's only more competitive now. So she's going to be a fun one to watch. So
That's awesome.
yeah, I can't wait for you to ride with her.
Yeah.
Cool. So, going back to the whole like mentoring thing, how can we inspire more young girls to come out and try this whole bike racing thing? It doesn't matter what discipline. What are some things that really would connect with you, or that connected with you other than your dad? Because your dad obviously is your biggest inspiration to go out there and bike race. But what are some other things that really resonated with you, so that that put you where you're at now? Is there anything that you can put your finger on, or anything that you can think of? I know this is me kind of putting you on the spot a little bit, but
off the top of my head right now, hearing what you just said about Whitney,
it
reminds me of myself at a young age.
Sure.
Like being so competitive at a very young age and like athletic. If there's a young girl that appears to be very competitive and talented, that needs to be like fostered.
Oh, absolutely.
And like encouraged, because I feel it's just like something that tends to die off with girls, and it needs to be something that is like awesome.
Yeah,
I think, because I felt like a little bit of an alien as a little kid. Like I would always like run around with boys and like chase boy, like just like be super
perfectly
like
100% right to be tomboy. I mean,
yeah,
I don't know if
was
there's a more
like
politically
that.
correct term than to use in this day and age, but
I was like that.
Yeah.
So I think that like it's good, like if a girl sees someone else like her that's older.
Yeah.
I
think a lot of girls would be fantastic cyclists, but they gravitate to the other sports just because that's the way most kids are. They just naturally gravitate towards your staple sports, and it's because they don't know any better. And a lot of times they don't get into the bike racing thing simply because their parents aren't doing it and they don't know any better. It's the parents who are falling in love with the sport of cycling that will want to bring their kids around it, and then they're ones that are going to be like, hey, this is awesome. And then hopefully those girls are going out there and telling their friends, hey, you should come try out this other thing that forget about this whole soccer thing, you've been sitting on the bench, come out and race bikes with me. So and it's unfortunate that a lot of women don't find it until they're in their mid to late 20s, because they're coming off like an ACL tear from playing soccer or basketball or something like that, and their doctor told them, hey, go ride a bike to get yourself in shape, and next thing you know, they're out there crushing it. And it's funny because you'll ride up in a group, you look down at one of the knees, you'll see the scar, and like, you were a former soccer player, weren't you? And it's the story. It's like, I don't know, it's just funny.
Yeah. Hey guys, if you want to do something that's not bad for your body, come ride your bike.
Yeah, exactly. Just don't get hit by things.
Yeah, basically.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Lance, you got any other questions for him?
Paige, what are your hopes and dreams and goals in this sport? Yeah. What are your aspirations? What are you hoping to get to?
Okay. Well, my biggest goal that is like the most achievable, like valid thing is I just want to see how far I can take myself athletically in my life.
Okay.
Like I have like a really strong desire to max out all my potential. And I feel like I'm not even close to that yet, because I haven't had a lot of opportunity to really test myself.
Yeah.
And improve like dramatically.
Yeah.
So that's what I want, and I feel like that will take me wherever I am supposed to be. So whether that's World Cup stuff, like, championship type things, or, maybe I could be an awesome coach. Like I feel that if I completely find my limit, then I'll be satisfied.
Okay.
So if I don't, then I'm going to keep going until I find it. So.
Well, we all know that you're going to be a professional mountain biker making millions of dollars. You're never going to work a normal job, and you're just going to make us all look crazy.
That's it.
But if that doesn't work out for some other reason,
nothing else.
What else would you want to be?
There's no other option. What else? I'm really interested in psychology, anything in like the mental health field type thing.
Yeah.
I love writing. I could write for anything. I love the bike industry too. Like everyone I've met is honestly awesome.
It's pretty cool
in the bike industry. So yeah, that'd be a great place to work.
Lance, did you see her taking all those notes on us before
on
the podcast?
Us, yeah.
Now it all makes sense.
She was like,
psychoanalyzing
who are
us.
you guys?
Has crazy mustache.
That's right.
Beating head against the wall because he's mad at technology.
That's all she saw beforehand.
Well, that's cool. The whole psychology thing. If you ever want a resource, I know somebody. I know somebody with a PhD and a master's and has been actively working in that field for many years.
Wow.
That's my wife.
And you rode with her, yeah?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I get psychoanalyzed all the time. That's why I got to always change it up. She's probably watching right now. Anyway, cool. Matt,
so aspirations for UCI World Cup potentially. Have you thought about the Olympics? Is that a possibility? Because they have XCO in the Olympics.
Uh-huh.
That would be sweet.
It would be sweet, wouldn't it?
Nice.
Nice.
But there's a long road, I guess, to get there, and
yes.
they only take 3 or 4 people, or I guess it depends on UCI points too, doesn't it?
I'm pretty sure you have to do like a lot of things in Europe and blankety blank to get selected for the Olympic team, and even then you have to get selected to go to Worlds.
Right.
In the U.S., you get to succeed here, succeed there, then maybe
then get picked.
You get to go.
But you don't have goals. If you don't have big goals, then
I do have big goals. My goals encompass everything. If my max potential is Olympic champion, then that's what it'll be.
There we go.
But if it's not, then I'll be
How do you go about
happy somewhere else.
How do you go about your goal setting? That's now that you bring that up. That's something that's kind of, it's that time of year still kind of.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, we look at goals for the year, but you're kind of a more big picture person by listening to you. So how have you come about these goals?
How have I come about the goals I already said?
Yeah.
I think that's just always been my desire, is to push my athletic limits.
Sure.
So I think that's where that comes from. It's kind of just something about me as a person. But for like normal goals, I like to focus on really small things. You know, like something about my positioning on the bike.
Sure.
Like one thing was that I used to like it's just a random small thing. I used to like point my toes when I was pedaling, and that was just like stealing power from me, and I had to like
a little bit.
Like every day I'd focus on like strengthening that and keeping my feet flat. And then eventually, you know, it's a habit and I'm perfect at it. And then like it's just really small things like that add up.
Gotcha.
I think for me, like time management, it would be a big goal.
Yeah.
Always. Not really that type of like schedule strict person. So being like trying to be a professional athlete and not being really into scheduling out my life is kind of like a different balance than most people. Sorry about that.
Taking her to microphone school.
Was I like going like this the whole time?
You're fine.
Oops.
You're doing awesome, Paige.
Oops.
Cool. Anything else, Matt?
Yeah, a couple questions.
Bring it.
You mentioned like psychology, potentially writing. When you get to college, what are you thinking about studying? Like, what's the plan of attack? Do you have any ideas?
Basically, I'm pretty undecided in that area, but I know once I'm interested in something, I usually am like pretty passionate about it. So I think that I'll get locked into something once I'm there.
Find something. Mm-hmm. Dive in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wouldn't want to say now. I just want to explore, I think. Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Awesome. Lance, anything else?
I'm just super impressed with Paige. She's always impressed me. I was able to race with her last year at Sister Stampede.
The one this last year?
Yeah.
In
2020.
Yeah, you guys parked right next to me.
Oh.
You probably don't remember.
Okay. I was like, 2019 was really good for me. 2020, I was like fried.
It was we did it time trial style.
Yeah.
And your dad parked right next to me, and he's like, hey, and I figured out quickly, oh, this is Paige and Todd. I actually know who both of you are.
Oh, cool.
I was just the idiot with the orange kit with the dumb mustache, but that's not anything new. But I was just really impressed that day with your preparation for the race, your warm-up routine. You actually like did it right, and I'm like, who is this 17-year-old girl actually warming up properly for this race? And I was impressed.
Oh, thank you.
So, yeah.
Natasha beat me that day. Shout out Natasha.
Yeah.
She's great.
She was one of your teammates.
No.
No? Okay.
She was in Bend Endurance Academy.
Okay. Yeah,
and I don't live near Bend.
Yeah.
So.
Is the Bend Endurance Academy, are they still around? Are they still a thing? Or did they kind of fold up shop?
I'm pretty sure they're not a thing, but I could be wrong.
Okay.
I wouldn't be the one to ask.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've put out some good kids, so if they're not around doing their thing anymore, that would be really unfortunate because Isn't that where Ian was? Okay.
He was with Bend Endurance Academy. He rides for Speedwagon now.
Speedwagon, yeah. He'll get picked up on a bigger team. Eventually that kid is something else, so cool. I'm going to ask you a quick question here. We're, say, hypothetically doing – well, let me just ask you this question. You pick the race. Is there a race that you can take your dad?
A race that I can take my dad?
Yeah, a course or a race or
I
something.
have taken my dad.
Oh, you have?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, my dad has sustained some really serious injuries.
Yeah.
But if he hadn't, I think that he would still be taking me, probably.
Okay.
But there's been races where he's started before me and I've passed him.
Really?
But, yeah, but he's also riding his big fat Scott Genius in a cross-country course. It's like you're trying to kill
He's
yourself
riding a
with that.
downhiw bike?
It's like
it's like an enduro bike?
all mountain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was there a little smack exchanged when you blew by your dad?
I was just like, ha.
And what was the response?
Go Paige.
Oh, okay.
He's supportive. He's
Yeah.
not. Yeah. But
That's fun. What was your first the first time that you ever passed your dad in a race? What was that feeling like inside for you? I mean, he's got to be your hero.
I mean, with biking, yeah, he is definitely. But I don't know. I was pretty proud of myself because I didn't think it was going to happen. Actually, he was like, "You're going to pass me. I am in such bad shape," and I was like, "No, that's not possible." Because on technical stuff and downhill, he's way better than me.
Oh, your dad's insane.
He's really good.
Yeah.
And he won't really admit it, but he is.
Yeah. He reminds me a little bit of Dr. Hannell, just a touch. He's got a little bit of that same like vibe about him. So those two would be fun to get together in a ride, and we would all get ribbed really hard.
His style is cool to watch because I get to like watch him. He goes in front of me a lot, and I watch his lines and what he does. And it's like I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, I've had plenty of experience with that, and it's usually the guys that have had a ton of motocross experience. Does your dad come from a motocross background, and that's where he gets it from?
Yeah, and like a little kid in the '80s, like you'd get like run over, and then they just pick you up and stick you back on it, and then you'd be like, "Meow."
It's like the Hamness brothers. Like Terry Hamness is a perfect example. I remember the first time riding behind him, I was just like in awe with like how he throws the bike around, how he handles the bike. I mean, he's going around corners, like just really tight switchback turns on like pretty steep downhill, riding on his front wheel like it's a freaking unicycle, and the back tire's just like whipping around them. And I'm like, how did you just do that? What? Huh? What? It was just kind of nuts. So it's fun to ride with those people because you can pick some cool tips up from them.
Yeah, he told me when he really got better is when he started reading about positioning on bikes.
Oh, yeah.
Like he started really studying it. And then he's like, I was going slower, but I was smoother, and I'd get like 30 seconds faster.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Less effort, but faster.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then like, I don't know. He has like a way different style than me. Like he'd be like, you need to do this and this, but I think that like mine is just different. Like everybody's a little bit different. I don't really know. Like, cause like when he tries to teach me things, sometimes it doesn't always like I'll be like, he's like, no, not that. No. And I'm like, I don't know.
So you've got a pretty good resume. You want to potentially maybe someday do a little coaching. You want to work with kids.
Yeah.
You've got skills. All right. What are like a couple things that you can toss our way, some nuggets of things that were kind of like aha moments for you that somebody taught you, or some like words of wisdom, or some things that you can think about when you're on the bike? What are some of those things that you can give us right now, or the listeners, to say, all right, next time you're on your bike, think about this or work on that? Do you have any like little tips?
Like little tips?
Tricks, anything like that really pay big dividends that a lot of people just don't think about?
I think that if you're like an aspiring professional cyclist, this is something my coach Elaine said to me. She told me when I was like a freshman in high school, if you're going to be good, you're going to be good. So don't worry about the small things. And I think that's something I have come back to every time I've thought about anything too much. It's just like, if you're going to be good, you're going to be good, because that's the way this industry works.
That's true. I mean, physiologically speaking, you've got a certain set of genetics that will predispose you to being good, or say maybe you want to just stick to that Cat 5 stuff there, buddy.
Well, I mean, like, that's really specific to like me, but like that's just something that always eases my mind.
I was really hoping that you're going to tell me just to change my seat position by like 2 millimeters, and all of a sudden my FTP goes up by 20 watts. Nothing like that.
Probably not.
Dropper posts will make you faster.
I mean, I've focused a lot on my pedal stroke, which is something everyone can do.
Yeah.
But because I used to just, this is like more technical instead of just that random junk.
No, that's what I want to hear. Throw it.
Like, so I always used to just push really hard.
Just mash.
Push really hard down. And because I've always been like naturally strong, and that was just something that was good for me. Like I just wanted to put. And then like when she started working with me on like getting this smooth rotation, and she would have me focus on each area of the circle of the pedal stroke to like think about putting the most effort into this, and then this part, and then this part, etc.
Yeah.
Until it's like you feel very smooth, and then like you're so much more relaxed, but you're going much faster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those efficiencies do pay off.
Yeah.
And
also, get your bike fit, because
Yeah.
I got tendonitis in my hamstrings from riding an unfit bike, and that took like months to recover from, like a couple years ago.
So when you got your bike fit and you had those issues, what were some of the changes that they made to your bike?
Just like everything. It was just like, I got it, and then I started riding it all the time.
Sure.
It was just like made very specific to my body. So that's what everyone's will be for them. So,
Gotcha.
But I always like a longer stem. So I'm like a little farther forward.
Sure.
Kind of like a more aggressive race position. Whereas like if you're on a big squishy bike, you're kind of up like this. But then if you're racing, you're down farther.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Catching less wind, going faster.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. So.
Cool. All right, guys. Any other questions? Matt, you good? You got any more?
Paige, do you have any other sponsor or anyone that's supported you that you want to mention to the listeners?
Good one.
Yeah. Fiona Schwartz from Specialized has been amazing to me. She deals with USA ambassadors. She's an amazing person. My coach Cypress and my coach Elaine and Rick Wilkes from SRAM and John Dawson from SRAM been like fundamental to everything that has happened to me. Kelsey Urban and Bryson and Summer Perry, and then Kelly from Juliana and Greg Carpenter from Santa Cruz.
Wow.
So, yeah.
It's a good list of people.
Yeah, I know, because I was like, everything that has happened to me is because of others being kind, honestly.
Love it.
So that's cool.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Lance?
Do you have any questions for us?
That was mine. Dang it. That's from both me and Lance. Well, and Matt too. You got any questions for us?
Yeah. How do you find motivation when it's just a complete drag to train? Because you guys are just like always on it seems like.
Well, I don't know if we're always on it. Well, for me it's different, because I had a whole life and career before I actually got into bike racing. And so I spent all this time doing these other things, and so now that I'm kind of into bike racing, like I've been able to have so much more time to focus on that. So it's motivating for me to have specific goals within bike racing. So for me, I mean, I do all kinds of racing, road and mountain bike and cyclocross and gravel, but I find that my results are the best in cyclocross. So my goals are, okay, I want a podium for a series in the 50-plus division, because I'm an old man like your dad, except I'm younger. I'm older than him.
Yeah.
So by like 6 months. So knowing that I have that goal, it helps me. It helps me on days like yesterday where it's crappy out and it's raining, and I think, okay, I still know if I want to reach this goal, even though it might not be until October or November, I still need to be suffering now, or be willing to do the work now, or the things it's going to take so that I can do that later on. It's the idea of delaying gratification, being able to have a goal or a focus or something that's out in the future, and delaying because it's much nicer to lay on the couch and eat jelly beans and watch a movie. I might do that too occasionally. But it's much nicer to do that than to go suffer on a gravel ride for 4 hours. Mm-hmm. It's more comfortable. You delay that gratification knowing I'm doing this for the better good or something off in the future.
Yeah.
For me, how I stick to it is, I love what I do. I love it so much that I made a whole career change and kind of came up with this whole idea and built something around what I thought was fun. Mm-hmm. And I think other people think it's fun too, which is why we've got a lot of people around us now. Yeah. But for me, it's just like, some days you feel like hot garbage, right?
Yeah.
So hence yesterday, but that's few and far between. It's those days that I can go back and just look at, like, even on Saturday's ride, I was out there with like 2 really good friends of mine, and it was 42 degrees, pouring down rain.
It was cold and raining.
We were covered in mud and
we
dirt
were filthy.
and sweat. And it was gross, but I had a blast. And it's that I'm like, I wouldn't trade that for the world. And it's just having like-minded people around me that share that same passion. And even if I'm in a bad mood, even if I'm tired or whatnot, it can be anything. If I go out on a bike ride, I always feel better.
Yeah.
Except for if it's on Zwift on a Sunday when I don't want to be doing it and I feel like hot garbage. So, but it's just that, and it's made me a better person, I think, and it levels me out. I have fun with it. It's just sometimes it could probably be a little bit too consuming, but at the end of the day, it's a lot of fun, and I'm hoping that it's helping other people have fun too. Mm-hmm. How about you, Matt?
I would say, we've talked about this on the podcast quite a bit. I think, one thing is putting some sort of race. It doesn't have to be a race. It could be an FTP test. It could be something hard that's a little bit scary. Putting that on the calendar, having that in the back of your mind always is going to kind of inflict some sort of motivation, some sort of fire under your pants where you're like, oh, I can't skip that workout. I do need to go ahead and do it. There's motivation there for sure. Another thing, I'm lucky. I think that, I have triathlon. You can switch off the bike and do some swimming, or you can go for a run and you can find motivation that way. And then lastly, I would say, don't underestimate a routine, and just having a routine. Like, what am I going to do tomorrow night? I'm going to do the team ride. That's a Tuesday night thing. It's just, I don't have to think about it, and not thinking is sometimes good, right? Where you're just like, I don't have to worry about the work. I go do the team ride. It's Tuesday night. I'm going to feel good or bad or whatever. I'm still going to go do it. And then kind of, I think a lot of times, probably for all of us, 15, 20 minutes into the ride, you might feel different than you think you would have felt when you started. So
yeah.
I think that there's, just some little things that way that, aren't so bad. Developing that routine is tricky, but once you have it, you have it. And then, it's easier that way.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times Matt kind of just touched on this. Like, I didn't want to go do a ride, or especially like just like a Zwift workout even, or sometimes even with the team. It's just like 6:30 on a Tuesday night. It's been a long day. I may have been up since 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm tired. I'm still kind of maybe dragging a little from the weekend, but you know what? I've got my friends there, and I know it's fun, and I know that I can draw upon those past experiences. And I get in there, and it's always like 5-10 minutes into it, I'm like, I feel good. Yeah. And then those are sometimes the days that you are the strongest. Mm-hmm. We'll have some of these workouts or these hot laps or these hot sections that we'll do. They're hard. Mm-hmm. I mean, we're going hard, and we're dying, and I'm enjoying the suffering. And it's because misery loves company. We're out there having fun together.
Yeah.
So. And Matt also touched on, I think Matt's full of wisdom today. He's got 3 different disciplines that he can draw upon. Mm-hmm. If I can make any recommendation to you, I know you love your mountain bike like nothing else, but it's sometimes nice to have a different bike that you can use and jump on so that you can, really just get out there and break the monotony of doing the same thing over and over again. So you've been riding your mountain bike a ton. It's sometimes fun to go jump on your road bike or your gravel bike and just go do something different with different people and have a blast doing it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I want to get on a road bike.
Yep. We'll get you out there. It'll be fun. So cool. Any other questions?
I think that's it.
Cool. I think we're going to wrap this thing up and jump into one last thing, unless you guys have anything else you'd like to ask Paige. Bueller.
I know that movie.
Awesome. Cool. Let's jump into one last thing. Lance, go.
I'm going to be out of town next week. I'm headed to St. George, Utah to hang out with my college buddies for the Super Bowl weekend. So
Yeah, we were talking about the podcast and wanting to have you on there and the potential guests that we're going to have. So we're maybe going to have to juggle things around. Maybe it'll be on a different day.
Maybe.
I was thinking Sunday, but I'm like, wait a second. That's Super Bowl.
That's
isn't
Super
it?
Bowl day.
Yeah, so we're not doing it then. Although I won't be doing anything else anyway. But anyway, long story short.
We'll figure something out.
Yeah, we'll do it, but it might be on a Tuesday. You never know. Unless you're going to be out in no man's land hiking there too.
I don't think so. I'm trying to figure it out.
Yeah. Cool. Matt, one last thing.
Today's the first day of Camas cross country.
Wow.
The paper makers, best cross country team in the United States for sure, the world probably. As I'm going to mention in a video that's coming up. But I also have a couple of videos, coming out or that I posted recently. If you guys want to check out, there's a Coros Pace 2 watch that I reviewed. That's an excellent watch. It's for the price, you're getting a lot of value from that watch. And then Coros watches have just ridiculous battery life. And then I did another video that was more about can you trust the product reviews that I've been doing lately? So that's a fun one for sure. And then, a whole bunch more stuff coming as well. Like I said, kind of a workout video this week, and then a lot of heart rate monitor reviews coming up on the channel. So get out there. Check out those videos.
I loved your
the like button or something.
I loved your "Can you trust me" video, Matt.
Oh, that's the one I was talking about. Yeah. The thumbnail is me with a watch with a roll of money.
Right.
The watch is wrapped in a roll of money, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna get that money. And I couldn't think. I was like, man, I guess I just have to do some sort of stupid portrait picture for this thumbnail. And then I was like, ooh, what if I put money in this wallet? I don't know. And then we had to find money because we don't have money in our house. So.
You should have put a bunch of Monopoly money in there. That would have been a little bit of comedy there too.
It was talked about. Monopoly money was definitely talked about.
Cool. Awesome. Paige, you got one last thing for us?
One last thing? Anything?
Anything. It'd be whatever you want.
Okay. Next weekend, I'll be racing again in Sammamish, Washington.
Sammamish?
What race is that?
It's another Voodoo race, which is
Soaring Eagle Park.
Yes, that one. And
I'm
excited. I'm excited to do it. I'm really excited to be back in shape, race shape, multiple weekends.
Love it.
Yes.
Awesome. My one last thing is I'm going to yank somebody who's standing behind the camera just to poke his mug around and say hi to everybody. Why don't you come around real quick? Hold on. Oh, hey, Evan. Evan, why don't you say hi to everybody on Lance's microphone real quick?
Say hi, Evan.
Hello, folks. How are we doing?
Good.
Is Matt still there?
Yeah, he's still there.
I'm here, Bryce. Still here.
Hey, Matt. How you doing?
I did not run 10 miles on Sunday. I did do something stupider. I went to the track and ran hard.
That's what I saw, which I'm not sure which is dumber. We'll have to talk about which is dumber, but man,
I know. It's a real toss-up.
I think you might have done the dumber thing, though. Maybe. I mean, I think my money's on that being the dumber thing. Was that Kristen's run? Did she take your watch?
Yeah. I'm
that was
testing
my
a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah, I called that. I was like, I bet Kristen took his watch.
Yeah. She actually, I made her wear 2 watches and multiple heart rate monitors. So
that's fun. Yeah, Evan had a physical therapy meeting that he couldn't get out of, so he just got back to the lab, and it's good seeing him. So, and then we did post up a new video on the Dialed Cycling YouTube page. Lance, you want to tell them about that real quick?
Yeah, Jake and I made a ridiculous video about are you a Stravidiot?
Yes,
which
I am.
Means, do you do stupid things on Strava to try to get KOMs? And we go over 8 or 9 different things that you can do or not do to get KOMs.
Yeah, there were some things in there that didn't have anything to do with KOMs. It's just you're just a Stravidiot if you
Stravidiot?
Yeah, that was a fun video. That was a lot
time.
of fun to make, and so I'd like to do the occasional little funny thing, so that might be something that we'll post up. And I've got another one that's kind of in the works right now that we'll post up down the road. So cool. Go check that out at dialedcycling.com. No, not well, actually, you can go to dialedcycling.com, but if you go to youtube.com/dialedcycling, you can check out that video. So anyway, in closing things out, I just want to say thank you, Paige. It was a pleasure.
Thank you guys for having me.
Hopefully had fun. Yeah, maybe we can have you back in here in the future. And you guys, thanks again for always coming in here and sitting down and putting up with this stuff. I know at the beginning of this podcast, it was a little bit frustrating. There was one little connectivity issue that we were having, and we called an audible and finally got it figured out. So, yeah, good times there.
We did it.
Yeah. Yay. We will be back next week for another Dialed podcast. If you want to check out the live stream, go to YouTube and subscribe there. Otherwise, you'll just find it in your normal places on Wednesday, and we'll just keep doing what we do. Thanks for listening. Until next time, bye for now.
Bye.